something that scares everybody for no reason, are tire changes, flat tires. What about if I get a flat tire on a ride or race? Just take your time. It's good to practice. I mean, even if you don't have a flat, practice it at home if it's something you're worried about. But, you know, what we're going to do is just going to let all the air out of this tire. And we'll talk about this valve real quick. This is a Presta valve. People are like, how does it work? Well, there's a little piece right here on the end. You can see that it moves. What it does, it screws the valve closed. So to put air in this tire, what you would do is unscrew this, put on your air source, whether it's a pump or a CO2 cartridge, and it'll compress this, open the valve up and let air into the tire. I don't have one out, but the kind that most people are used to is a Schrader valve, which looks like the one you have on your car. Same thing. You don't have to unscrew it, but all you do is put your air source on it, pump it up. So, all right, you're riding, you got a flat. So, I don't know what to do. First thing you do is unlock the brakes. And this lever here on this bike, and there's different ones, and you know, it's something we can research. You'll open it up and it gives you a little bit of room to drop everything out. Quick release, open it up, you know. This one hasn't been opened in a while. There we go. Just need to put some slack in it. So we take it out. So the best thing to do is we'll take this little screw cap off here. It holds the valve kind of sturdy when you're putting air in it. So you got a flat, but you don't know where it's at. So really, the best thing to do is keep everything oriented in the same direction. So I'm going to take this off. I know my wheel was like this. So best thing to carry in your bike are at least 2 to 3 of these little tire levers. It helps you get under the lip of the tire and pop it off and get everything out. So the best thing to do is just reach down in here with it. And you could tell how tight it is or how loose it is. Most of the time you could take it, slide it, and it'll start unzipping the tire, should we say. You know, you run that around. So you get this side completely loose, you're good. What I like to do is leave the tire on. I'll reach in the bottom. I'll pull the tube out, leave the valve in. So now, when I pull this out, I'm going to set my tire and wheel down. I'm going to set my wheel down knowing which way it was facing. So I know my tube was down in here. So what I want to do now, and let me grab this pump over here if you want to check this out. You know, you got your basic air pump. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to put a little air in it. Obviously we're just using this as a demonstration purpose, but if there was a hole in this, you would feel the air coming out. So say we have a hole, we'll say it's right about on the side here. So knowing this was basically the front where I took it off my wheel, I got a hole here. I will take this, line everything back up. I will line it all back up. My valve was here. My hole's here, so obviously I have a section here that has something in it to cause this flat. Don't just shove your finger in there and run it around because you'll find it and it's going to hurt. So what you would do is search. First look on the outside. See if there's anything sticking into it. If there is, pull it out. If there's not, you can get a rag. Let me just grab a rag here real quick. It's always good to carry everybody's got bike bags, so put something small in there. Run it around inside. And if you feel it snag, that's what caused your flat. This time of year, there's a lot of needles, as far as like pine needles and things that are coming into bloom that are dropping little things. You know, they're cleaning the trails, knocking stuff onto it. So when you find it, pull it out. Take your little multi-tool that you have with you. If you need to, pull it out. If it's got a little set of pliers, pull them in there, pull it out. So now our tire's good. We could put everything back together. So you can patch a tube. It's more of a pain really than what it's worth, because a lot of times they won't stick if you're in a big hurry and trying to do it. Carry a tube with you. Carry a new tube. Fairly simple. Doesn't take up a lot of space. You know it's good. There's a couple ways to fill the new tube up. A lot of people are using CO2 now because it's small. We can carry, this is the valve that will put the air in. This is what's going to put air in your tire. So it doesn't take up a lot of space. If you have a frame pump on your bike, great. That'll work perfect too. So what you would do with this is, this will screw into here. Keep in mind this is compressed. We'll make sure our lever is off so it's not going to let anything out. So take your rag, hold this because it'll get cold. It's, you know, it's just compressed air. You'll screw this in and it'll puncture. So hear how the air is coming out? Now we have good control to let a little bit of air in. The best thing to do is put a little bit of air in these. Don't try to put them in while they're still flat. That's what's going to cause a pinch. What we're going to do is we're going to take this, and I'll let you look at this up close when I do it. This will screw right on to your valve. So screw it on until it's snug. What I want to do is just put a little bit of air in this to put some shape to the tube. So see how it puts some shape in it? So that way you're not trying to shove a flat tube in there where it could get pinched. Okay. So we find the hole where the valve goes. So we'll say it's right, I know it's right here. So what we'll do, we'll stick the valve back down in there. And we're just going to do the opposite. I'm going to take and I'm going to pull with the tire lever, pull this right over top of the tube. Get everything seated back in there the way it should be. Okay. Now what we're going to take and work this back in. Just go all the way around with it, with your fingers. Push everything back inside the tire because we know we already got that piece of foreign material out. Just work it in there. Sometimes it looks like, oh, it's not going to fit. They'll fit. Sometimes if you patch a tube, the tube will be stretched a little bit, but you'll be able to get it back in. Okay, now we're all in. Now it's just find a point and start working it. You know, you can use your thumb if it starts to pull out. It takes a little bit. So I said practice at home, even if you don't have a flat, take your tube out, put it back on. Sometimes these are really tight where you got to use your tire lever. If you need to use this to put the tire back in, just make sure the tire isn't touching the tube inside. Then you could take it and start slowly. Pop it in. And just push it up. So this tire is not really that bad. It's something I can probably do by hand. Something you could do by hand. Maybe not. So you just want to make sure. See, we get to a spot like this. We'll hold it. Put that up in there. It's tight. I don't feel the tube. I feel metal. Pop it. Good. So now you could look inside if you want to take your time and look all the way around and make sure there's no tube exposed. No tube exposed. We're all good all the way around. Now what we do is we'll screw this back on. Slowly, slowly, slowly. Put the air in. If you don't have a gauge, make it so it's fairly tight. Got a good grip on it. You don't want it too loose on the You want to have a little bit of air in there. There it is. Nice and hard. We'll unscrew this. Like I said, watch it because it's cold. In case you get another flat, you could reuse these. Up to 2 times, I would say they're good for. Now take and close your valve. Close that up real good. We'll find our little screw nut that goes on the end. There it is. Screw it back on. Keeps that valve from moving around. Put your black cap back on. I would just basically do the opposite. Stick it back up in the dropouts. Make sure it's in there tight. Close your lever back up. Make sure it's closed tight. Lock your brakes. That's it. You're back in the race. Ready to ride again.